it's always great to celebrate. Yes, of course, we get that. But now we see the Argentinian celebrations that are descending into, say, chaos. It's not far off chaos. In fact, in the Telegraph this morning, Messi's heroes forced to flee homecoming chaos because so many Argentinians are in Buenos Aires trying to celebrate the win that it's got out of hand somewhat. Now, that's one thing, but here's another. Argentina's Martinez, the goalkeeper, Aston Villa's goalkeeper, pictured holding a toy baby complete with nappy with Mbappe's face stuck onto the head during the country's open-top bus parade in the capital yesterday. And this comes after his antics when we saw during the shootout, he threw the ball away. The young French boy going up to take his kick. He kicks the ball away from him. And then dancing and holding the Golden Glove trophy at the presentation to his groin in what was a bizarre gesture. I mean, is it not important to win? Yeah, but to win with class. And is he one who's failing to do so?
Yeah, I think it is important to win with some class and dignity. But I've got no problem with what he did on the penalties. You got to be big and bold enough to take that. That's just the way the football is.
Was it cheating?
No. I've got a problem with what he did with the Golden Glove and the silly thing about Mbappe and all that. I'm surprised some of the things weren't nipped in the bud more quickly by his teammates.
Well, they're just as bad.
Well, some maybe, some not.
That Rodrigo de Paul, apart from trying to get in every picture with Maradona, is pretty much doing the same
with
thing.
Messi, you mean?
With Messi. Is pretty much doing the same thing all the time.
Well, I haven't seen all of it. All I can say is I don't agree with it at all. It's not what I'd... If I was involved in that squad, because they've won, first and foremost. They're going to be lauded and eulogised about. The thing is with Martinez as well, he was superb. He had a great tournament. He made arguably one of the most...
Saved him in the 90 with 30 seconds to go, didn't he?
Will go down one of the best saves in history.
Yeah,
that save will be remembered.
The same Mbappe beat him 4 times.
In a game, yeah.
Done him on every Stadium on Friday. Sunday.
Done him on every pen.
Yeah.
So why would you go down? Also, you've got a few years ahead of you in the international game and club game, wherever he ends up or Mbappe ends up.
And it'll come round and bite you.
It
will come round and bite you.
And also, you've got. Even if you've got a dislike for someone, which I don't think he has, I think it was just momentary. But even if you've got a dislike for someone, you've won.
Yeah,
that's it. You don't.
Let's not shed too many tears. And I suggest there might be some crocodile tears in amongst it for Mbappe, because he's not ultimately anyone that at times that you look at and think that he holds the best values at times. I know some of the pictures were clipped and cropped about his, beaming grin when Harry Kane missed the penalty. It might have been actually a different phase of the game. I mean, I think that Martinez has sort of descended into a bit of peasantry in his outlook and views and the behaviour from a lewd gesture. I disagree with Danny. But I think it's a referee's job to have dealt with it. I do think it's cheating. I do think taking a ball away...
We did give him a yellow after the second one.
I think he should have dealt with the goalkeeper before the penalty shootout. I think they should have been spoken to both goalkeepers and said, I'm having none of this. I will put balls on spots. You're not going to do any of this. You're not going to distract. We're going to have a sporting competition where 2 people compete with one another and someone doesn't try and take a ball away, distract, and ultimately get in people's heads.
Well, he did it twice. He should have done him on the first one.
I agree with you entirely that the person should have been capable of overcoming it. Yeah. But you had two disadvantages. You had the entire Argentinian crowd behind that goal, which had already given them an advantage. Yeah. And then you have this clown in front of you taking advantage of a situation which the referee should have controlled better. I mean, I look at the whole thing and think, is it important to win with class? Let me tell you what's more important. Winning, right? And we'll worry about the class afterwards. I'd rather have this conundrum saying our players weren't classy enough, but they won, than saying that ultimately we want classy winners, because we never get that bleeding opportunity, do we? And so with that in mind, you've got to take things at face value a little bit and look at it in terms of, or not at face value, and look at the tongue-in-cheek mentality behind it. There's a lot of rivalry. There's a lot of banter that goes on between players, and some of it's light-hearted, and some of it can be extrapolated out of context by us in the media.
But it's not being extrapolated out of context for the media. Far from it. You lent on Jack Grealish when he threw in his comment about Almiron.
No, let me.
And he was being snide a bit then, and Jack ultimately had to apologise for it. They have showed a huge lack of classy Argentinians, and it should be flagged up.
Yeah, it's
now,
Aurelien
Tchouameni had to go and get the ball after Martinez steered it away from him.
Yeah, but Simon's actually made a good point about the referees there. If you give someone a yard, give him an inch, take a yard. He should have been dealt with. But the thing is, it's actually easy to win with class. The hardest thing in football is to lose with class.
Yeah.
The easy option when you win is to do the right thing.
That's right.
And that's why I did. I don't know if you saw it, but I spoke about Ronaldo when I know he was upset. And I know it's the end of his World Cup, but was it Morocco when they beat them? Mm-hmm. Morocco, Portugal. I think I'm getting that right. How much would it have meant to those players for him? I know he's upset. Shake their hand and say well done to some of that. Like instead he's walked off, not shook anyone's hand, and cried down the tunnel.
Okay. I think your expectations are a little bit unrealistic.
I don't
know. I don't know, Dan. I mean, what you're saying is Ronaldo is a superstar, and the Moroccan player should be afforded the extra luxury of him greeting them.
Well, a lot of the Portuguese players said well done to Moroccan boys and shook their hands.
Okay,
top international players who've been there, won it, done it. Okay. Ronaldo's had he's won millions of trophies.
But we know what Ronaldo's all about himself.
No, but I'm using that as an example.
Anyway. I agree.
I'm using that as an example.
I agree.
They can't do it when they need to do it. Argentina, they lost the 1990 World Cup final. If memory serves me right, they had 2 players sent off in that final, De Sotti and Monzon. They always let themselves down.
But they would have climbed over their grandmother to win that game.
Yeah.
They didn't care what they had to do to win that football match, and so subsequently it manifests itself in their attitude after it.
Is that right?
Well, it's not an ideal world, but I'm telling you
winning
now.
Mentality,
I'm telling you now, I'd rather be reprimanding our players for being classless winners than thanking them for being gracious losers. Sorry,
I get that point, and actually makes a good point. But the one thing I'd say, if you actually...
I'm not sure everybody would go with that, actually.
Well,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I think they probably would deep down, but the Argentinian mentality and philosophy...
Would you rather be a gracious loser than a classless winner?
Yeah, definitely be a classless winner. But Lionel Messi is the best example of, I think, somebody who conducts himself in the right way. Very unlike a lot of the other players in the Argentina squad. And he can't control all of them.
I agree with you.
But the way he conducts himself, the humility he shows. I can't think of anything that I could look back on him doing thinking, maybe the Van Gaal thing where he stuck up for Riquelme and give him the celebration because Riquelme was his hero, wasn't he? And he gave that was the first time I'd seen Messi actually go below the line of common decency and humility to it and let his anger
out. But they were
actually
talking
even the way Messi dealt with our classless chef being on the pitch,
but they were also talking. I think Tim Vickery referred to it about the re-emergence of Messi as an Argentinian rather than this person that moved to Spain when he was 13 years of age. He was having a go at people on a pitch in Argentinian swear words and had really reintegrated himself back amongst the Argentinians. So he's not above being able to take the game into a different place. But what you tend to find, and it's surprising that Ronaldo, and Danny makes a point, and it's a well-made point, what you tend to find when you meet real superstars and real people of substance, they have more calibre, more genuity and more decency about them than these so-called superstars that actually aren't superstars, that behave in a fashion as if they are. So perhaps there's something to be said for what you're saying, but I don't sit there thinking how offended I am by the Argentinians sending up a player like Mbappe or anyone else, because I look at it and say, they've won. This is how they in their country, their fans will be not looking at him going, you shouldn't be sending up Mbappe. They'll be saying, look at those winners.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't offend me enough.
What did you think when Martinez stuck the golden glove down by his groin? You saw the Qataris looking at him thinking,
I think he's a bit of a peasant, isn't he? That's what I thought.
Do you know what I thought? I thought, imagine my kids seeing me do that.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
But will he be remembered for that? No. In 5 years, you'll remember his amazing penalty save, the last minute save.
You'll also remember those classless moments, though.
You probably won't, luckily for him. Probably not. When we're talking the next World Cup, we probably won't talk about it. We'll just remember.
I think he's right.
I wouldn't mind being in the stadium the next time Mbappe's up against Martinez.
Yeah, I don't think... Do you know the great thing about this? Mbappe's probably the least bothered of everyone.
He did his job.
Probably so, Danny.
He'll just crack on and get on with winning the next one.
Let us know what you think of that. Send us if you want. Give us a call. 03717 223344. Is it important to win with class? What's it more important to be? A gracious loser or a classless winner?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.